Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our 12 Sacred Self days, celebrating and preparing for the 12 Holy Nights. I should have called it the 13 Sacred Days because it's actually 13 days and 12 nights. In all these previous years here at transCODES, I have reflected on the days. And this year, I want to give you a head start and leave you with a contemplation for the nights. Yeah, the night between the sacred days are where things are happening, where the big mysteries are going on. I've mentioned yesterday that the time between the winter solstice and Christmas Eve was traditionally used for initiation. This actually happened way before Christ was born. So we make this mistake that we take the reasoning for celebrations a little too literal. Yes, of course, we are celebrating the birth of the baby Jesus on Christmas Eve or Christmas. But really what we are celebrating is the return or the reignition or the renewal of the inner light. And depending on the level of consciousness that a person, like a soul self is, these days and nights, starting with the winter solstice, have a much deeper meaning than just, the gift giving to one another, the gathering, the eating with the family, and even the religious or spiritual aspects. There are larger cycles, larger forces at work that we call cosmic intelligence. So this cosmic intelligence has to do with the celestial bodies and the understanding that each of these planets, if you will, the planets that we're seeing here on the outside as physical bodies, that within them, just like how it is with ourselves, dwells a spiritual entity, a spirit being. And so today, on the preparation for the second night, I want to go a little deeper into this relationship between ourselves and our higher selves. You see the picture of myself behind me here as sort of the reminder for myself that it is my higher self speaking to you. And in that relationship is something for us to discover. So I mentioned these initiation days, these preparation days that are supposed to guide a person, that are supposed to give a person a roadmap to navigate the spirit worlds that are becoming more permeable in these days. Now you might ask yourself, why should we navigate the spirit worlds? We have enough trouble with navigating the 3D material world. The answer is simple. Because underneath every process, every manifestation, every occurrence here in the physical is a spiritual process, is a spiritual law, that is acting. Just because we are not quite aware of these, we have been introduced in our sort of collective understanding of spirituality to bits and pieces. We have the beginnings of an understanding of how the fourfold human is built. how we are constructed really of layers within layers. The soul that has a body is really a body living in a soul. And if we further differentiate soul, which is just sort of our proxy as a spirit being that we cannot quite fully understand yet, then some of us have learned that there's something like an astral body that governs our drives, our emotional, psychological ingestion and responses to the physical world, the physical experience, but also our yearning, also our desires. And then we have the etheric body, which governs the way we see things, the way we think about things, the way we intellectualize our physical experiences. And above these three hierarchies within ourselves, the physical, the astral, the etheric, or the body, the hand, that does, the heart that feels, and the mind that thinks, is the I, the conscious I. We sometimes call it true self, just to have a better bridge from the identifications of our ego to something that is more true, that is realized or internalized through our own recognition of ourselves. And this true self has nothing to do with not lying to yourself. This true self is the true being of you. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday, how this is part of a greater spiritual hierarchy. It stands at the lowest level, if you will, of spirit beings. It is the first training course in how to become a god, if you will. So we go through our physical experience here as so-called human beings with the task to discover and explore the spirit being that we actually are. Just like how we can look at the planet Earth, as just a physical materialization of nature and all that comes with it. Or we can look at the planet Earth as Gaia or Pachamama. Great spirit. And recognize that underneath all of these things that are occurring in and on the planet are consequences or, the results of a spiritual development. And this is sometimes difficult for us to bring together. Many of you have this understanding that there is sort of a Godhead in the planet. But we have evolved from the old pagan and multi-god religions. We no longer connect with spirit beings, especially those of higher hierarchy, as gods. Today we're probably more inclined to call them angels. Angels, archangels, you've perhaps heard about this. They are beings that stand above us, that stand above our true nature of self. And it is the I, the conscious I am in us, at the moment we turn on our light, where we recognize that we are a spirit being too, and that our body, our physical experience here is nothing but a developmental stage on refining our I and the specific tasks that are needed to further evolve. And when we put ourselves as a spiritual being, with a conscious I, into relationship with these larger spiritual hierarchies, what we find is that probably the next level, the next hierarchy of spirit beings is one that we still, even if we are not spiritual, that we can still connect with. And that is the hierarchy of the angels. Angels, therefore, have been humans. They have gone through the physical experience before us and basically upgraded to become angels. Now, angels still have an astral body. They still have an etheric body, and of course the conscious I that we are so struggling developing here in our human stage. But they no longer have the physical body, the hand. They no longer have the, I want to say the ability, but it's actually not a loss. They didn't lose this ability. They no longer need the ability to translate things into a physical experience. They live off the mysteries that they have discovered in their previous development, which would be their physical human experience. So today I want to talk about how our internalized true self is actually the sacred part of us, this conscious I am, that is deeply connected with other spirit beings, but that we in our ego self, if we don't recognize ourselves as this sacred true self that we are, can no longer connect with. It is something that we have to consciously do in order to feel the spiritual world. And this is what most of the work here that I do at transCODES, be it online meditations, online workshops, discussion groups about spiritual subjects, is all about. For us to build this bridge again between the physical, material, and spiritual world via our true self. For now nearly 13 years, I am doing a free energy session every month for anyone on the planet who chooses to join and use this space and time and the beautiful community that has formed around this to internalize their own inner spirit self, and with it enter a higher level of consciousness that allows them to have their own inner experience of their higher self or their true self. So the relationship between the true self and the higher self is that we then, once we've built the bridge, we work with our true self until we find the light switch, until we have this inner experience, until we know our soul. And then we begin to navigate this spiritual world that is quite dark in the beginning when we enter it, and discover that our, what we call soul self, is actually a higher form of ourselves that lives in the spirit world. And so it is confusing sometimes, especially if you listen to sort of modern New Age, where these terms are used interchangeably. Even I use them interchangeably in my courses because it depends on the level of consciousness that a person is at to understand these terms correctly. So here today, I want to specifically talk about the issue with building the bridge and how hard it is for us, even if we are spiritual, to remember that there is a higher self, a spirit self, that is constantly surrounded and accompanied by these higher spiritual hierarchies. We would probably call them guardian angels at first, non-specified. And yet it isn't untrue that there is, or there are beings that dedicated their journey, their developmental journey to assisting us. This is a very important thing to understand. It goes beyond our simple understanding of angels with wings and harps and singing. But as always, in these archetypes, there are some truths in there. So the deep mystery of angels surrounding us, accompanying us and supporting us, and the guardian angel as sort of the dedicated former human spirit being, is that our guardian angel, our guardian angels or spirit guides have to go through all of our experiences with us. As a matter of fact, they kind of need us to go through these experiences because they can no longer. So what is their job? Their job is to assist us. Is to assist us in contextualizing and understanding, internalizing that which we go through with our thoughts, with our sentiments, with our deeds, and even within our dreams. So there is a component here that I would like to get across today, namely that our guardian angel has to go through our experiences, through our feelings. And that this guardian angel or these spirit guides that are dedicated to us, that they are bound to us in a way that can only be sort of a fruitful or mutual, or become a mutual exchange if we begin to recognize it, if we begin to connect with it, if we begin to communicate with it, if we begin to cherish it. In that moment, we are giving back, we are feeding our guardian angel, we are strengthening it and allowing it to evolve on his or her or its path. So the whole point of this contemplation is that, for one, we're never alone. We're never alone. Not only are we connected to all of those who have gone through this physical experience, this path before us, all the angels, for example, we are also connected to all those who will be going through this process, through this evolutionary process after us. Not just our children, not just the next generations of human souls incarnating, but also the lower astral beings that can evolve into a human, the subnatural the elementals, for example, that we will also talk about here in this series to better understand how the subnatural is also in service to us. So we're never alone. And not just on a psychological level, we're never just in a void of nothingness. We are constantly surrounded by these spiritual processes that I talked about and beings that are endlessly working, kind of like the elves, all right, that you see in all these Santa movies right now. They're constantly working, gifting us with their love. So the inspiration and the alignment for this second night, the coming day, is to stay awake, stay aware of the fact that there are so many spiritual mysteries that we're just about to discover, and recognize that the love that streams to you consciously through the divine soul, or the Holy Trinity, the divine, the source, that connects with your higher self, fills you with the light, the warmth, and the life force that you receive in order to have this physical body, this physical experience. So our job is to take that consciously, that gift, to internalize our physical experience in a way that we understand that there is a greater community, if you will, interested in us evolving, just like how we as a village, say, or as a family are interested that our children grow up in a healthy way, that they make the right choices. It is our conscious choice to connect first through our true self with our own inner spirit being, then through our higher self, the higher evolved version of our true self that is conscious of the spirit world, the spiritual hierarchies, the spiritual processes that I just talked about. And recognizes itself as part of that greater work. And then an even higher intelligence, the cosmic intelligence that allows us to just begin, as humans. We don't really have the capacity to see or to understand or to even feel any of these cosmic forces that are at work, but we can intuit them. And that is basically our job now, here as conscious true selves. To not just survive our life, to not just make it through, but to develop these abilities, intuition, inspiration, imagination, that allow us to navigate this spirit world here through our own will, our own choice to seek. So seeking truth, all those of you who call themselves truth seekers, you guys are on that path. Because what you are following is an inner impulse, the Christ impulse, that came for all humans, regardless of whether you believe in Jesus Christ or Allah or Yahweh or Buddha. Came for all humans, because we are a spiritual evolutionary state. Being human is an evolutionary state of a soul being, regardless of what they're thinking, what they're believing, what they're subscribing to. Yeah, that is our task here as humans, to connect with that and to refine it. And how do we do this, you might ask? And this is where our guardian angels come in. They provide us with the imaginations, with our spiritual sight. They provide us with a sense of beauty. You know what makes you cry when you listen to a most beautiful piece of music or when you look at art? That is your guardian angel helping you understand your purpose, your journey. I met someone yesterday that proclaimed at the dinner table that she did not believe in an afterlife. And yet she believes in God or the divine, and she believes in karma. And I was very interested in this. How we are so disconnected in our thinking in our modern world that we truly believe that we could separate these things from one another. That we could separate things like karma, reincarnation, chakras, all these modern spiritual things from the afterlife. All that we do here, all that I just talked about, is all about the afterlife. It is all about us evolving as a spirit being, not as a physical being. Even when I talk about the resurrection body, the glorified etheric body, the immortality that was promised to us by Christ, that was given to us as a choice by Christ, even then, it's not about immortality as a physical human. Would you really want to stay in this developmental stage? Would you choose to stay a spiritual infant for the rest of eternity, knowing that you could grow up to become this beautiful angel being that is in your future, that is your future self? So today's contemplation for this second of Holy Nights, I want you to feel into what it is that you actually yearn to connect with. And perhaps here, as a result of my lecture here today, consider that there are tons of beings out there that are looking out for you, that are helping you along the way, that are giving you dreams, imaginations, spiritual sight, so that you can finally understand that all your fears and all your worries about this 3D life come from the illusion of being alone in this world. And that is the true darkness that we need to overcome. That is how the adversarial forces work to divide us, to separate us from the spirit world. And our job is to connect these two worlds within us, to build the bridge, to switch on the light, to connect with our spirit guides, our angels, and to commemorate with them, to rejoice with them. This is then how we overcome our physical, our 3D fears. So enjoy this second of the holy nights, remembering the spirit world that is helping you along. And here in 3D, I want to do a big shout out to all of you in my transCODES energy healing community here who have been with us for years, over a decade. Not only on your own journey, but realizing that a big part of your own journey is to help others to find the beauty, the goodness, and the truth in life. Thank you for your support. And tonight, I'm going to talk to my guardian angel and to all of you guys as guardian angels, and thank them as well for all the beauty in this experience. Listen to the energy alignment called True Self now, which is the inner experience of connecting with your true self, and with it also the spirit beings behind it. I love you guys, and I see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye. True self, I know you there. If I take the time, I can feel you in my sacred heart. You remind me that I am more than just a projection of myself. You are my grounding rod, way shower, and guardian angel. You guide me through my dream world and help me to navigate the confusions of dark and light. And you give me the courage to be me. Thank you for always being there for me, even if I ignore you. Forgive me for all the times I have neglected your guidance. I am awake now, and I accept the unawareness of my past. It led me to refusing to listen to your signals and clues, denying your existence, and even forgetting to ask you for help. So often, I chose to listen to my false self, my ego, my mind, my fears, and my emotions instead. I believed in these false projections, those of others and my own, because it was all I could see. I was asleep. I identified with my false self, my defenses and protection, and all its pain, which separated me even more from you. I didn't know any better. I herewith absolve myself for all I thought, felt, fantasized, and did out of the lack of awareness in the past. I can now see
how useful each of these lessons, in which you let me feel the pain of not being true to myself, were. Out of the love for the divine in me, you go through everything with me, unconditionally. I finally understand this now. All fears, justifications, and temptations that come from the illusion of being alone in this world are the true darkness I need to overcome. And that this is why you are here with me, to guide me and protect me, and to keep me awake when I sleep. For that, I want to thank you and return this love by becoming more true to myself. From here on, I choose to trust in this love more, by trusting in my true self-awareness that gives me the ability to feel you at all times and to discern truth. Your love is sacred to me. I can feel